This is the tutorial for grade 4, lesson 3, swimming fish with the Sprite Lab. Part 1 covered puzzles 1 through 5. This video will cover puzzles 6 through 9. The first one, number 6, is a video. Let's watch it. It's very short.
It's time to dig into some fun features of Sprite Lab. The first thing to do is to set up a sprite. To add a sprite, you can use the Make a New Sprite block. This block lets you give your sprite a costume and a location. If you want to change the sprite's location, you can click the pin in the location block and then click where you want it to go. You can change the size of your sprites too. To make a sprite smaller, you can use the set size block and then type in a number that is less than 100. If you have 2 or more sprites with the same costume, this will change all of them at once. Now let's get the sprite moving by using a behavior. You can start by giving the sprite the spinning right behavior. Once the behavior begins, it will run over and over again forever, or until you tell it to stop. And that's all there is to it. Now it is your turn.
Okay, so please don't forget to click continue at the bottom. Even if you don't watch the video, clicking on this will turn the bubble green, and we can move on to puzzle number 7. Now let's practice those skills. So this is the program that I ended up with in puzzle number 5. So yours might look a little bit different. You may have a different fish and you may have different colored water. In fact, just to prove that that does still happen. The instructions here are: the fish is adventurous and wants to meet new creatures in the sea. Add another sprite to the fish tank. This sprite can have any costume other than the one that you used for your fish. Essentially, they just want you to add a second character. And the way to do that is to go to sprites. And here is the block that says make a new sprite at such and such coordinates. So we'll grab this one. Please be aware that you may add this block to any part of the program. If you add it to the bottom, it'll show up. If you add it one block up, it'll show up. If you add it to the beginning of the program, it'll still show up. And this is actually the way that I like to do it. I like to keep the sprite blocks together, the behavior ones together, etc. So that's all they ask for you to do for this one. And yes, you can choose any character you want, including a turtle, including a pirate ship, including the tumbleweed, if you really think a tumbleweed belongs under the sea, and the crab. And I believe there's a snake or an eel. Any of those is acceptable. Just make sure that it's different than the first one. I'm going to do this one here and then click run. And that's it. That's all they wanted for this one, just to add a second sprite. Now in puzzle number 8, they're going to ask you to do something with that second sprite. The instructions say, what do you want your fish's new friend to do? Add a behavior and watch them go. It is important to note that this combination of blocks right here, the blue block that says sprite begins, a costume that matches the first fish, and the green block, these are the blocks that determine what the blue fish can do. They're asking you to do the same thing with a different behavior for the other character that you added, no matter what character that may be. So the first thing to do is to look for this blue block, the one that says sprite begins. And if you go to sprites, it's not there. If you go to world, it's not there. If you go to behaviors, it's right there. Sprite begins. And remember, you can add it anywhere in the program that you want. It is also super, super important that you make sure that the fish that's in here, or whatever's in here, matches the fish that you're trying to add a behavior for. So since I have this turquoise fish that looks like it has a mohawk, I need to change this one so that it matches that fish. If you don't do this, it will not work. And then I need to add a behavior. And let's see, I'm going to do this one here that says wandering. I'm going to put the water back on and run. You can see that the behavior for my first fish was already set. I created a behavior for the second fish. Super easy. That was puzzle number 8. Here's number 9. Last puzzle of this unit. And the instructions say that we've added a lot of new blocks to the toolbox. Play with them to make your fish tank special. So this is what's considered an open puzzle, wherein you can change anything you want. For those students that really want to spend a lot of time here, they have added quite a few other types of behaviors. Look at these green blocks for all the behaviors that they've added. You are welcome to change anything you want. If you don't want to spend too much time with this, I strongly recommend that you just change one thing, even if it's just changing the color of the water. Just do one thing, and when you're done, you can click run and finish, and you'll be done with the unit. However, if you do want to have some fun with this, you can add other blocks that will affect your picture. You can change the size of one. I'm going to do the blue fish, my original one, and I'm going to change that to 50. And as soon as I do that, my fish notice that it changed size. And I'm going to do another one for that same command, but for the other fish, the one with the mohawk, and I'm going to make him twice as big. Look at that. In locations, I'm sorry, let's go back to Sprite. You can change the color of your fish. Locations. The location block is right here already. You don't actually need to get a second one, but by clicking on this, you can actually determine where in your puzzle the fish actually begins. Like that. If you go to behaviors, of course, you do have a lot of other behaviors like this one. This one's my favorite one, and I'm going the one that says growing, and I'm going to replace that for my first fish so that it looks like this. So whatever you decide to do for this puzzle, have fun with it. And look at that fish, looks like it's staring at me. And when you are finally done and you're happy with your product, please click finish. Click finish here again, and you should end up at the page with the picture of the certificate. And please remember, you don't have to do anything here. This simply indicates that you are done. You can close code.